Hello, my name is Steve Gearhart, and this is the Unagi Observer. This is going to be the review of Animore. What is Animore? Well, it's a very small convention. They plan for 2,000 people. They expect 1,000 because of the events of this year being forced to move from one hotel to another and the Women's March. I would say it was less than 500 for Animore 2018. Of course, that's not their fault. They were just the victims of circumstances. But Animore, the more positive thing about it is that it's a really fun little convention. And what I mean by that is that while it is anime themed, if you are into cosplay, RPG, LARPing, any of those kinds of things, if you're into the craft behind it, if you're into gaming, like board games, or interactive games between a large group of people. If you like to dance, they have a couple balls, cosplay balls that they do. If that's kind of what you're looking for, then Animore is definitely your place to go. The entire time I was there, I got this positive vibe. People seem to be happy, and it is very much a family-oriented convention. This is a convention for parents whose kids are into anime and you want to learn more about it and you want to take your kid to it because you don't want to get lost in a 26,000 member convention like Otaku. You want something a little bit more, a little bit more safer. Then Animore is it. But be prepared, you're going to be interacting as well as your kids. And that's kind of the whole point because Animore is actually run by a family as I gather it. So, Animore, yeah, I had a lot of fun. So let me go on to the other parts. So let's start with some constructive criticism. Now keep in mind some of this stuff probably happened since they had an unexpected move over to the Renaissance. And that's actually one of the things that I'm going to talk about. But because of that move from their normal home, from the Hyatt to the Renaissance, I think that's where some problems crept up and will probably go away. I'm pretty sure they will when they move back to their normal home. The venue, the Renaissance, while good for industry conventions or medical conventions, not very conducive to entertainment conventions like Animore. One of the issues I had was that in order to get to some of the panels, you had to walk through a restaurant slash bar, so that was kind of inconvenient. Also the hotel did not give them very good signage. Yeah, they had the little electronic screen, but it didn't tell you what times panels were happening and things like that. And that's usually a good thing to have, and it's something that a hotel at least offers easels, if not the actual signage itself. The other big problem I had with the venue was the fact that while they supplied projectors to the panels, the panels had no projection screens, so they had to throw things up on the walls, which were wallpapered and not white walls. So that was kind of distracting. Again, these are things that I believe will go away or get fixed when they move back to their normal home. The other big thing that I had was their website. I think that could be just touched up a little bit. I think they can throw in a few more bells and whistles on that. As it stands, it's actually pretty easy to navigate. It's very simple, so in that regards, it's pretty cool. But there's no real, like bulletin boards. You have to go to the Facebook site to really do any talking. There's not a whole lot of social media, which I think that they really need to do. Social media is pretty important for conventions, and I think they need to do, Animore needs to bump that up a little bit. Let's see here. Really, those were the only big things that I had a problem with. I enjoyed the panels. I enjoyed, being there. I thought otherwise, other than the few glitches that they had to deal with, it was actually a lot of fun. So those are just my criticisms, my constructive criticisms, which will probably 90% of it go away next year because they're going to be back where they're supposed to be. The panels were a lot of fun. If you are, like I said before at the beginning, if you're a cosplayer or something of that nature, a lot of these panels are very informative, and they give you kind of how-tos and do's and don'ts and that kind of stuff. So that's really, really nice if that's what you're into and that's what you're getting out of it. And if you go into Animore, that's definitely what you're going to be looking for. So those panels were pretty diverse. The actual anime panels were done by pretty much one guy, Brent P. Newhall. If you recognize the name, it's because he does the circuit, the convention circuit. As always, he does really good panels, and if he comes back again next year to Animore, I strongly suggest you drop into a couple of them. He's informative, he's witty, he's funny, and he actually does know what he's talking about, and he runs a good panel. So keep that in mind for next year. If he's there, check him out. Animore's vendor room was almost perfect. It was what I would envision for a small convention to have. And what that is a mix of commercial vendors and fan-supported fan art vendors, kind of craft vendors, fan craft vendors. And it's really important to have a good mix of that in a small convention, because you don't have the ability to separate the two because you have costs. You can only spend so much money on so many rooms. So that's a good mix. And what I saw in there was a lot of fan craft booths. Everything from tchotchke to chicanes to art to actual functional cosplay type stuff. And then you had the commercial guys who had the hard to find things that you can't get in retail stores here in America, like model kits, certain types of plushies, and things of that nature. So I thought it was a really good setup. It was easy to walk around. I only have two real complaints about it. One of it was that a quarter of the room was really underutilized, so it was as if they couldn't get enough vendors in there. So I'm not sure what that was about. Number two was the type of commercial vendors that they had in there. There were only two vendors that actually sold anime DVDs. One of them was much smaller, and it was actually part of their plushie collection, and they were only selling Blu-ray DVDs. And the other one was a guy that I know from Otaku, who had a good selection of manga and DVDs to sell, but he was the only vendor there. Part of a draw of a convention is its vendor's room, so you need to kind of bump that up a little bit. So I felt that they could have had one or two additional sort of manga anime vendors there in that vendor's room, maybe occupying that one quarter space that was underutilized. Other than that, I thought it was a great place. It was nice, it was easy, it wasn't overly crowded like some vendor rooms can be, and it was just, I really enjoyed it. And there's two criticism aside, it was pretty cool. I liked it. Okay, so that is the review for Animore 2018. If you were there, I hope you had a good time. I sure did. I do recommend it in the future. And just to let you know, stick around. There is a video after this set to music of stuff that I saw in Animore, so stick around for that. And like I said, I highly recommend going to this. It's nice, it's small, and if you're liking interactive kind of stuff, this is definitely the convention for you. So that's it for that, and my name, as always, is Steve Gearhart. This is the Unagi Observer, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.